Alright guys, it's the time you've been waiting for. A and S tier. A tier means you are a character that can likely win a national tournament. Has really high peaks, but the lows can be pretty low. Not the most consistent characters, but still very solid overall. Usually has something really good about them that makes them stand out. I would recommend a secondary character to deal with usually one matchup in particular, but we have seen a few players really impress me and convince me that it is possible to solo main these characters and still find success. Number 10, Pikachu. Pikachu has amazing speed, frame data, and recovery. Heavily struggles in certain matchups though, making it inconsistent. However, I do see amazing potential in Pikachu as a secondary character. Puff, Peach, and Sheik really give Pikachu a hard time and causes its inconsistencies. Pikachu is an anti-meta character with surprisingly solid Spaceys matchup, which gives it the edge compared to Samus. Number 9, Ice Climbers. Has some really dominant matchups such as Sheik and Pikachu. However, they get really destroyed by Peach and Jigglypuff, and that's not even mentioning Spaceys give Ice Climbers a hard time. Shares the issue of Pikachu and needing some bracket luck to make work. It's a good secondary character, but the problem is that Ices is very unique compared to other characters, and requires even more work compared to a simpler character such as, let's say, Sheik. But we have seen some really nice success with Ice Climbers, such as Slug, Wobbles, and Fly Amanita. This character has some really big potential, and because of these huge runs, and especially because of players such as Slug, I have had my mind changed. I think Ice Climbers can do it. I just think it requires a little bit of luck, bracket luck for the Ices. It destroys Pikachu, by the way, as I neglected to mention earlier. So I think that's one thing that really gives Ices the edge against Pikachu, is it is an extremely dominant matchup, and I have a hard time being able to say that Pikachu is better than Ice Climbers, even though the Ice Climbers has such a strong matchup against it. So it does struggle against Yoshi though, and that's another reason why I feel this next character is deserving of number 8, and that is Yoshi. AMSA has insane results with this character, but I think that Yoshi is literally the hardest character in the entire game. So I give my respects to AMSA-san, because I think there is a reason he is the only person to make Yoshi work at the highest of all levels. He has a really good Ices matchup, surprisingly good Puff matchup, solid Marth matchup, but I think Spaceys make Yoshi struggle a lot. Sheik also gives Yoshi a very hard time. I know that AMSA has victories over Jmook, but Plup has a really convincing matchup into AMSA. And I think that has a lot to do with the character. I do respect Plup, and I think he's one of the greatest of all times. But the thing is, yeah, Sheik is going to really give you trouble as a Yoshi player. And I think AMSA can turn it around a little bit, but I'd have a hard time saying that he can get some consistent results against Plup. I do believe in the guy though. Number 7, Peach. Now, I am making this after Genesis, but I'm actually not changing Peach's placement based off of what I saw there. Because the thing is, I've already seen that Peach can do it. Just because Armada stopped playing does not mean he has not definitively proven Peach's viability. Peach's biggest issue is movement speed, but it is literally her only flaw. She's really good. Beside that, Spaceys are really good in turn. Falco and Peach, in my opinion, I think it's an even matchup. I know that that's kind of a contentious thing that people can't seem to agree on whether Peach or Falco wins. I think it's dead on even. Puff has always been an issue for Peach, but I don't think it's insurmountable. It is a hard matchup though. And again, I'm not letting Genesis bias my tier list here. I think it's really important because that was amazing, and a Peach Puff Grand Finals, I was not expecting that at all. It was a wonderful tournament, and I suggest you watch it if you haven't seen it. This is the end of A tier. Now we're moving on to S tier. S tier is the true cream of the crop. These characters have what it takes to consistently do well in tournament without matchups being too much of a factor if you know what you're doing. All of these characters have proven results to testify their success. Number 6, Captain Falcon. Captain Falcon is extremely fast, extremely good punish, insane crouch game, good grab and good throws except for back throw. Recovery is almost bad enough to send this guy into A tier though. He can squeeze in here because of how good his strengths are. Captain Falcon is really good. I know I said matchups are not a factor up here, but Falco does give Captain Falcon a hard time at the highest of levels. It is doable, however, in my opinion. I mean, I think the hardest matchup for the A tier characters, Peach being Fox and Puff, and Ices being, Yoshi, Fox, Peach, Puff, you know what I'm saying? Captain Falcon just only really has to worry about Falco and Fox. Sheik can be tough, but you have a really good punish on her and you're really fast, so you can dictate the pace of the game. I think that it is even, actually. I know that Wizrobe and other top Falcons think that Sheik is winning, but I think that we can do it, guys. And I think Captain Falcon does deserve S tier. It's barely, but he does make it, in my opinion. Number 5, Jigglypuff. Rest is an absurdly good move. Good thing this thing is as slow as it is. Otherwise, it would be amazingly good with no downside whatsoever. Amazing range and aerial mobility. Best recovery in the game. Very consistent tournament character. But the top tiers above her have the ability to control the pace of the match. Puff does beat Sheik in my opinion, but not by much if the Sheik knows what they are doing. Hungrybox has shown the potential of Jigglypuff, and I mean, people were saying Jigglypuff was first or second or third. Oh my god, I think that is nonsense. I think Jigglypuff is too slow to make it happen. To be a second or third best character, there's no way. Because you have to play with a certain level of patience with Jigglypuff. And while this is not inherently bad, it almost feels like you're playing from behind because you're so light and you die so early. It always feels like the other person is dictating the pace of the match due to their speed, because all the characters above Jigglypuff are faster, and a lot of the characters right below Jigglypuff are also faster. That is why I believe that. Number 5 is really good, and Jigglypuff needs respect on its name. However, I only think you could argue Jigglypuff being above Sheik, but not Marth and Falco ever, in my opinion. I just don't think it's ever going to happen. Yes, Jigglypuff was very dominant, and I just think that's a testament to how good Hungrybox is. I really think it's that the man is that good. I don't think it was Jigglypuff carrying him in any way. Jigglypuff is a strong character, but that's it, strong. I don't think it's the best character. Number 4, Sheik. Really fast with amazing jump squat. Range, needles, and frame data. I mean, you've got it all with Sheik. Except for recovery, but even that is pretty tricky, and the recovery gives Sheik the advantage of having amazing ledge stalls. And Sheik is pretty notable for having a good Marth matchup. And Sheik has a good matchup spread overall, I would say. Really dominant into the lower half of the cast, but Fox and Ices in particular are a big struggle for Sheik. And something I mentioned in my F tier video is Zelda may have a use case. And because of that, I've decided to move Zelda up to the top of F tier, because the thing is, Zelda's kicks are really good, Ices have a hard time responding to it, and Zelda's recovery is miles better than Sheik. So because of that alone, in my opinion, it warrants usage of Zelda more than any of the other F tiers. Sheik is really an edge guard machine. It's a well-rounded character with no huge weaknesses to speak of. Number 3, Marth has always had amazing results, regardless of the era of Smash we are in. I think this is because Marth is a very good and consistent tournament character, and has obscenely good Spacies matchup relative to the rest of the cast, making it a really good solo main just because Spacies are the most prevalent character, bar none. Because of this, it's a really good idea to main Marth. You do have some really weird matchups though. Yoshi, Pikachu, they're just oddly not difficult, but it's just, I feel you have to play really different versus those two characters in particular, and it kind of throws a lot of Marths off. And because of that, if you're not familiar with the matchups, it can feel like it's winning, right? So, but I think that Marth goes even with Pikachu and Yoshi. That's a pretty hot take, and I think that Marth loses to Sheik. I think it's 6-4, and it's not the end of the world to have a losing matchup, but it's just very strange that Marth struggles with certain things like Yoshi, and then with the best characters in the game, it's just wow, like he's really good, But the thing is, I think Falco is number 2. I think after Yoshi, Falco is the hardest character. To play this character optimally is a huge challenge. He is hard to play under pressure as well, like obscenely so. But I think that people have forgotten how dominant Falco can be. The primary reason Falco is above Marth is because I firmly believe that Falco has no losing matchups. I think that some matchups you have to play extremely strictly. I think Marth is likely to have some losing matchups. Possibly the aforementioned Pikachu and Yoshi, but also Link is weird for him too. You know what I'm saying? And that's not a good look when you're at this juncture of the tier list. And then the aforementioned Sheik issue. If I truly believe that Falco has no losing matchups, but Marth does, by virtue of that statement, Marth has to be worse than Falco. Number 1, Fox. This is still the best character in the game. The difference between Fox and Falco and Marth are all extremely slim. It is a fair argument to say that any of the top 3 is the number 1 character. I think there are a small gap separating the top 3 from the rest of the S tiers, but not enough to warrant a tier separation. But if I had to, I guess S plus tier would be the top 3, and then the S tier would be the other characters. The few amount of tiers that I have are intentional to show that these groups of character will generally serve you well, which ones will serve you fairly well, and the ones that will fare badly, as well as the ones to just avoid outright. Thank you for watching, and I will be back for more.